Thanks, Brian. So in today's course, I'm going to be talking about how to use GPTs or AI agents inside of ChatGPT for your writing and more specifically, how to create personas. So in today's course, we're going to learn about what ChatGPT agents are. They're also called GPTs. But if you hear me use them interchangeably, you'll know that they're the same thing. We'll use how you can use ChatGPT to create and refine different personas, and we'll learn how to create your own GPTs. And at the end, we'll learn how you can chain them together for streamlined content creation. But before I begin, little introduction about myself. So I'm the co-founder of LastRev, and for the past 4 years, we've been helping enterprise businesses deploy AI and digital transformation across their organizations. Also, I'm the CEO of Answer AI, which is an AI productivity infrastructure built for the enterprise. I have 20 years of experience in digital marketing, and before founding LastRev and Answer AI, I led optimization and digital marketing for Optimizely from 2014 to 2018. And most recently, I started an AI YouTube channel called Digital at Scale, where you can keep up to date with the latest trends and latest things happening in AI, particularly in the business space. So, what are GPTs? Well, GPTs, or agents, as you might hear me call them, are only available on the ChatGPT Pro account. It's $20 a month, but they're use case specific agents. They'll follow a specific set of instructions, and they can help you complete repetitive tasks in your job. They can also use tools like web browsing, creating images, and even giving them knowledge bases based off of your uploaded documents. And if you have a developer, you can also use custom tools to integrate them into your external or even your internal applications. So, how do you find GPTs? Well, if you have a pro account, over on the right-hand side, you'll see a little piece that says Explore GPTs. So when you go to the GPTs, you'll see this screen where you can search for different GPTs. You can also see that they have some for image creation, writing, which would be more relevant to the class today, as well as productivity, your research and analysis, programming, as well as education and lifestyle. Now, there are millions of GPTs on this store right now. And to be completely honest, it's a little hard to find what are some valuable GPTs. So that's why I created, if you go to lastrev.com/GPTs, you'll be able to see some of the GPTs that I've been using for content marketing at LastRev and Answer AI. We'll be going over the Persona Sidekick today. But we also have a video script sidekick that I use a lot, a video editing concept sidekick that brainstorms visual concepts for scripts that I write on my YouTube channel, as well as a content critic sidekick. This is one of the best ways that I use uh, AI is to be a critic, help me brainstorm. This is a great one to really refine your writing process. Also have a branding builder sidekick that will walk you through creating, your visual identity and your brand voice, so you can use that to train other GPTs. We also have creative concept sidekick, which allows but there's a bunch of different sidekicks, and probably one of my favorite ones is the research sidekick, which I give it a task and it researches the web and my documents for information. But today, we're going to be talking about the persona sidekick. So, why start with the persona? Well, I've been doing digital marketing for 20 years, and the thing that we always start with, whether it's the product, whether it's the marketing, whether it's customer support or sales, we always start with the persona that we are targeting. Why? Because it allows us to do tailored messaging. We can craft very personalized content that's going to make your target audience engage more with your content. You can write specific content that speaks to their needs and their wants and ensures that it resonates with that audience. It really, at the end of the day, leads to a better user experience because it's going to match the tone and style that the audience prefers and help you avoid pitfalls for using phrases and words that may not resonate with that target audience. It's also going to help you to focus your efforts on strategies that directly appeal to your target audience. It's going to help you to then make informed decisions. So when I was at Optimizely, we would always make sure that we started with the persona. That way we can see if our messaging, when we try different messaging, resonates with that target persona while taking other variables out of the equation. So starting with the persona is so key. That's why I created the Persona Sidekick GPT. It helps you to create and refine detailed personas for different marketing campaigns, but it can also be used for customer support, sales, and even product personas. But today we're just going to be going over the marketing. The Persona Sidekick is built to follow a specific workflow that's going to help you guide you along the way. And it'll also suggest follow-up actions that you can use with shortcuts. So let's jump right in. If you go to the link that was provided in the materials, you can go to the Persona Sidekick. Here, you're given a few shortcuts that you can use to get the conversation started. So here we have, do you want to create a brand new persona? Or do you want to research the web to enhance a persona? Or, maybe you have a persona that you want to refine into smaller micro personas. And do you want to identify a persona based on my website? Now, one thing about these that I don't really care for is that when you click it, it just executes it. So when you have to give it additional information like your website or perhaps a persona, it just starts, the execution just starts. So for that purposes, I'm just going to have it evaluate my website, lastrev.com, and I'm going to have it create a persona for me. Help me identify a persona I can target based on my website's messaging. Now, so help me identify a persona I can target based on my website's messaging at www.lastrev.com. So the Persona Sidekick will go, it'll evaluate your website, it'll look at what services, what products you offer, and help you to come up with a persona that you could then target. So for instance, here, it came up with the tech-savvy business professional, someone in their mid-30s to late 40s, based in urban and suburban areas across the globe. Gives the professional status, some of the psychographics, the media consumption where you can actually target them, what their pain points are, and their purchasing process. And at the end, what it can do is it'll give you a few shortcuts. And I train all of my GPTs to give suggested next actions because sometimes you just don't know what to do and use AI to help you brainstorm the next steps. So I'm going to say give me 10 pieces of feedback to make this user persona more specific. So it's going to go through here and it's going to give me some feedback. This is another excellent way you can use AI in your creative process is to ask the AI to give you feedback on persona, on your blog posts, really anything that, you have written, it can give you really good feedback. So as you can see here, it's a narrow down by industries, clarify business sizes, details specific tech interests, expand on the media consumption. These are just ideas that you can then use with your team to help refine your personas. Because at the end of the day, if you can create personas that are very detailed, well, you can then create messaging that's going to resonate with those personas. So We looked at how you could create a persona based on websites messaging. Now we're going to look at how you can go and refine the persona. So perhaps I want to just, refine this persona. Let's start a new chat here. And I'm just going to say refine this persona into 5 micro personas. And simply just copy and paste that in there. As you can see, you don't even need to spell it correctly, but you can go through here and it will, give me 5 smaller personas that I can target in my social media campaigns, my ads, and you can just continue to iterate with this persona over and over again. So here it's given me 5 personas that are based off of that first persona that it gave me. And now one of the other things that you can do is now research the web for the latest information about perhaps these personas. So I'm going to say for research, I want to research the efficiency driven operator persona on the web. What this is going to do is it's now going to search the web and find supporting evidence and other details about this particular persona based off of the latest information it gathered on the web. So this can help you to save time in surfing the web, doing your research. It even cites your sources here so you can then take a look and see where it gathered this information. This can really save you time in creating very, very small micro personas that you can now target with your messaging. And of course, you can use it to brainstorm. Give me 5 marketing concepts for this persona. So I can use this to then create different concepts for a marketing campaign. So in this demo, we learned how we can create a persona based off of your website's messaging. We also learned how to refine a persona into 5 smaller micro personas. We also showed how you can research the web to enhance the persona as well. And we also showed how you can brainstorm different marketing concepts for any given persona. So how does this work on the back end? Well, to create your own GPT, it's pretty simple. You can simply go in here to create, and you're dropped in with this GPT builder. ChatGPT makes it very easy to create basic agents or GPTs that can work on your behalf. So here I want a GPT that will create marketing personas for me. So if you have an idea for a GPT, come in here to the create, it'll go through, it'll help write good instructions for you and can at least help you get going. It'll walk you through the process of creating this GPT. As you can see here, it's given me a basic description. It's given me 4, possible starters, but where does this all go? Well, that's here in the configure. So when you use the create over here and you work with the AI to build your GPT, essentially it's filling out this form. As you can see here, it turned your GPT of I wanted to create a GPT for a persona, and it created this more expanded prompt as we saw earlier. So it says your role is to create detailed marketing personas based on user input. You will ask questions to gather relevant information and use that to generate comprehensive personas that include demographics, interests, behavior patterns, and marketing strategies that could appeal to them. You should emphasize the importance of understanding the target audience's needs and preferences while avoiding the creation of overly generic or stereotypical profiles. So as you can see, it took your basic want of creating a persona GPT and created this much more detailed prompt or set of instructions for this GPT. Now, this is great to get started, but let's take a look at the instructions for the persona sidekick. So once again, all of the same rules that you learned in your previous class will apply here. You want to follow all the same prompt guidelines. You want to give it a role, a persona, so to speak. You want to give it a task. You want to tell it, what formats. You want to give it examples. You want to, continue to use the same prompting techniques that you learned in the previous exercises to help write these instructions. So here I give it a role. You are a persona sidekick and you're designed for creating details personas for marketing, sales, customer success, and sales teams. Now I created this as a more general purpose persona because my company works in all of these four, but you could make it so that it only is for marketing, for sales. Really, it's up to you. But then I define the process that it will go through. First, determine what type of user persona you will be creating or refining, and ask the user to upload documents, give you a website URL, and some information about the user persona. This just informs the GPT that it needs to know a little bit of information before it just starts creating personas from you. The GPT will then research each of the documents or the websites for information about the user persona. So this is the research step of the GPT. You will then give the first draft of the user persona based off each of the team's guidelines using the context provided. So here I give it detailed instructions about what I want when it responds to me. So for marketing teams, I want to identify the demographics. You want to understand the psychographics, their media consumption, as well as any of their pain points and purchasing process. If I wanted to add additional line items that I wanted it to also produce, I could just simply add them here to the instructions. As you can see, for sales teams, they're different than for customer success teams and are different for the product development team. And then lastly, how I was getting it to respond with follow-up actions is just to tell it. So here at the end, I say step 3, you will always end each response with this text. It will simply guide the user to tell them to just ask them what they want to change, what they want to remove, or it will suggest different options for action items. Here I have, write the full persona profile, give me pieces of feedback. This is going to help guide the AI and the user into what you want to do next so you can continue with the flow of refining or giving feedback or creating a new persona. So with the GPT Builder, you're able to create specific and repeatable instructions with context inside of the prompts. It also allows you to create conversation starters to help tell the user what you can do with the GPT. This can also help you to formulate instructions that enable your GPT to follow a specific path. You can also upload documents. With ChatGPT, you can only upload 20 documents at a time. But these could be things like your brand story, your brand guidelines, and other files that will give the GPT more context about the task that you're trying to accomplish with it. And then you also have these capabilities that are built in with web browsing, creating images with DALL-E, or using a code interpreter. Don't let that scare you. It's really just helps it do analysis on more structured type of content like spreadsheets and things like that. But then it also allows you to create advanced actions. This is where my company, Answer AI, helps organizations integrate these GPTs as well as other AI agents into their Google Drive, their Slack, their Zoom meetings. Because if you look at how our Persona Sidekick is set up, is it has access to all of our past Zoom transcripts, our Slack messages, and particular Google Drive folders that has information about Answer AI and who our target market is, what our brand guidelines are. So we're able to give it a lot more context than just the 20 files that ChatGPT enables you. So really the possibilities with tools, it's not just your internal documents, but you can also communicate with external sources as well. This is a really powerful way that you can give AI agents lots of context and really, uh, lots of capabilities using tools. So let's talk a little bit about the best practices. As you saw in the instructions, be specific and clear. Your instructions should follow a pattern, should follow a process, should take into account all of the same principles that you learned in prompt engineering from defining a persona and giving it very clear instructions. You also want to give it context, whether you upload the files, you give them the context in the instructions, or you use a tool like Answer AI to give it context about more information, either internal or external, and always up to date. You also want to define the tone and style. This is very important, especially for when you're using GPTs for writing or creating social media posts, because you'll want to make sure that it follows your branding guidelines style so that you can have a clear and uniform style when creating new content across your organization. And then at the end of the day, iterate and refine. This is so important because you'll start to see that it will say the same words like delve and realm, and maybe you don't want your GPT to say those all the time, or perhaps you want to give it, or you want the responses in a different format. You're always going to be constantly refining it. Think of it as an employee that you just need to train and tell it exactly what to do, be very specific, and also to how you're expecting it to respond to you. If you work with it, you refine it, you train it, these GPTs will really help you get tasks done at lightning speed for um, whatever job you have to do. Once you have your persona created, one of the really cool things that you can do with ChatGPT that was recently released is that when you're in creating this persona, we want to go ahead and create a blog post. So here, I just have to hit @ and I have this one that I've used before called the SEO Article Sidekick with Internet Research that creates SEO ready articles and searches the internet to cite its sources. So now I can say create a blog post uh, for this persona. And it's going to take in all of the past information. And because this GPT has a different set of instructions about how it writes the blog, how it does its research, you can start to create a team that helps you to both do your persona at research, your internet research, writing it, and then you could use something like the content critic sidekick to then give you some feedback to make it better. So this iterative process of doing research, writing, and iterating and refining with AI is a process that does not remove the human, but actually puts the human in the middle at each point, because it's really up to you to make it your own. Because at the end of the day, AI is really great at creating first drafts, but you always still want to check its sources, check its claims, and make it your own. Because if everyone can do this and everyone can create a blog post, you need to focus on what makes you you and what makes your business different than everyone else. And this gives you that time.